We've got Obama in the fucking lobby. Let's go. Onion, what do you think of this matchup? What are your thoughts on these two teams? Opinions, various sort of things. Well, I grab the link and put it in Zygarde General.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be a super interesting match between a team that's played together for a while now and a team that's, a little bit newer together, but they've been pretty strong in the Zygarde League. They're one of the teams to beat. Um, I'm excited to see if we see the Evoli Ravioli Leafeon again today. And I'd expect picks like Charizard from Slimp to come out too. So I think all around it's going to be a very interesting set of games, interesting set of drafts especially.
Who is Inder? Just out of curiosity. Okay.
Ender is a pro player for Nouns Esports.
Yeah, no, obviously. But you're right.
And Obama was the president of the United States 45th.
Yeah. What a crossover. We have Inder from Nouns Esports and Obama from the Democrat Party on the same Pokemon Unite team. So this is definitely very exciting.
And not only that, but possibly the Jesus of Pokemon Unite quality. This guy plays like every single role. I see him everywhere. Like him, Obama, and Blush, not Ender anymore, are gonna make a fearsome trio for the team of Arson.
Blush, as in Blush Link, of course.
Yeah, of course,
Famous. No, no, it's Blush. I am not sure entirely about this Blush, but it's definitely not Blush Link. Of course, for anyone joining the stream who is unfamiliar with some name changes going on here, we have Arson is actually Evoli Ravioli, Obama is Quality, Pixel is Pixel, Quality is Budwolf, and Blush is Blush. So, Obama has left the lobby. Unfortunate. I hear that Obama actually is only allowed to play 4 games by law, so he won't be able to join us for the 5th game if it does go game 5. So they've got to win it in the first 4 if they want Obama to play with them, as the U.S. law requires.
Max, that doesn't even make sense because you can be elected twice for 8 years total.
Fuck. Alright, you're right. It doesn't make sense. Come on, like the material was there though. It was close. It was close. Okay, but actually, this matchup is very interesting. We've seen Arson, this team Arson, playing a lot of sort of double mage sort of comps, and hold on, let me see. Okay. We've seen them play a lot of double mage comps. We've seen them be very confident on that. Although usually they had a different jungle, formerly Aussie Geno. But now they're playing with Pixel, so we'll have to see how that turns out. Maybe he's not as comfortable on the double mage, or maybe something else is going on. We've got Kaio in chat showing his support for Arson, cheering for Arson. So that's definitely a negative for them. They've got Kaio cheering for them. What do you think about that?
I mean, Kaio is possibly the best top 8 player to ever do it. If he is in Arson's corner, I'm in Arson's corner.
Yeah. And also, Billowing Oak says, who is the favorite? And that's a very interesting question because I think it actually could go either way. I think statistically Arson is ahead so far in this league, and I would personally favor them a little bit. But these two teams are certainly both very strong, and this is going to be a really interesting matchup. I could even see it going game 5, and I'm not sure who will end up taking the win. Well, it looks like both teams are ready, so I'll just get us underway. We'll see how this Game 1 draft shapes up, with Arson being your orange team and Shiggy Wiggy being your purple team. See Arson opting for a ban of some kind, and it looks like it's Ho-Oh.
Yeah, Ho just being a really strong pick in the meta right now after the recent buffs. Reses are ridiculous, and we're actually seeing an Urshifu ban from the side of Shiggy Wiggy.
Yeah, and that's something I'm very accustomed to. Of course, having Sayotami on my team, but it's interesting to see the Urshifu ban into some random people. Potentially there is someone on Arson, maybe this Pixel person who I'm not as familiar with, is comfortable on that Urshifu, but we'll have to see. The bans that end up rounding it out are Suicune and Charizard as well, with the Blissey first pick.
Yeah, so leaving up this Latios for the side of Shiggy Wiggy if they decide to take it. And it looks like instead of the Latios, they might be opting for a Snorlax Hoopacore? So setting up supports, setting up tanks. Oh, never mind. We're actually gonna change to the Raichu at the last minute. How do you feel about that?
To see the early pick on the Raichu, because I don't think they would have ever gotten that taken away from them based on this Arson draft line that I've seen in the past. But of course, I haven't been doing all my research. I haven't been doing anything. But it's really interesting. We have Budwolf picking up Espeon, his signature pick. Definitely, something that has led Budwolf to a lot of success in the past, and see if it works out in this league match. But still, the Latios goes undrafted.
Yeah, and I also think that the Sliver pick on the side of Arson is really interesting too. A lot of the times you'll see it like different tank picks there, or yeah, like Sliver's just not a common pick, only drafted once in Worlds. And it did have that win in that one game, but just not a very common pick in today's meta.
Yeah, I don't think it's a horrible pick into this sort of composition that the enemy team is running with, but I definitely wouldn't have favored it myself as a tank. I'm just not a big fan of Slowbro in general in this meta, although the angle in which the Slowbro was picked was pretty solid. We have Talonflame. Looks like Blaziken for Pixel. I think I've seen him on that Mon before, even though I've only seen him like once, so it's probably comfortable. This Eldegoss as well, something interesting to bring up is that Eldegoss is, a Mon that was really slept on for a while. Even AJ and me were having a conversation about it the other day. It's been very slept on for a long time, and people haven't really realized the potential in which Eldegoss brings in this meta has sort of got brought out at Worlds, and then a lot of people started recognizing it more. So I think Shiggy Wiggy, I'm a fan of the Eldegoss here.
Yeah, and I also think what's really interesting is that on the side of Shiggy Wiggy, we do have two full heals as well. On the what is probably going to be a Scyther, and also the Zacian. And I'm curious, what do you think about this? Would you prefer a different battle item there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking we probably are running full heal because it's what we normally run on these characters. But in this sort of low CC composition, the only thing that the full heal is really going to favor you against is 1v1ing this Blaziken. So I can see it on the Zacian for sure. I'm thinking that the Scyther might get more value out of some sort of X attack, but I think they're just more used to running full heal, probably do it every time, so they're more like it. I'm also going to draw attention to this Talonflame build from Arson. It's Evoli, most likely going to play this Talonflame in the top lane, maybe the jungle, as we could see Blaziken go to the path, but Evoli is traditionally a top lane player. But it is also a fly Talonflame build, and I think if she ends up channeling her inner Toonslim on this game, it could be really strong weaving in and out.
Alright, loading into the match now. Shiggy Wiggy is going to be your purple team. Arson, your orange team, and everyone is now going to their lanes and starting their lane farm.
Yeah, and Talonflame with some weird going all the way around the top for the stack. Doesn't want to show a vision of herself to Shiggy Wiggy. And the Blissey is going to pop XP but still die to the Zacian. But Talonflame gets 2 stacks trading with the Zacian, but the Zacian isn't even stacking. He just gets farm. Talon will try and get out, uses eject button, and the Zacian ends up autoing the farm, leaping onto it, and letting the Talonflame get out with 2 stacks and her life. Really interesting top.
Yeah, I did really like that pathing from the side of Evoli Ravioli. Avoiding Zacian early game is really important for a Talonflame in this lane that's a lot weaker. And so getting those levels, getting those stacks is really going to help late game as she begins to get more and more online. Now, yep. Bloodwolf is rotating up for these 850 birds. And we're going to have some 4-on-3 action.
Yeah, and it's going to be stored power on Espeon, so we don't see as much impact as we could have had in level 4 with the Psyshock, but it's going to be a lot safer move in the later aspect of the game, not it being caught by this Scyther or Zacian later on, potentially, but not quite packing as much punch as maybe could have been for that 4 gank. They end up losing the lane anyway, but it looks like the Slowbro did manage to get some farm on the bot lane, getting their Evo well. Bloodwolf was gone.
And I know AJ is also very happy right now. I'm seeing this Electro Ball from the Alolan Raichu. AJ is a huge believer in this, and, you know, emotional aid making him very happy right now.
Yeah, and another thing to point out is we have this Talonflame still looking for its evolution, just finding it on these bees, and they're actually able to take what is a very bad fight angle in terms of composition and in terms of levels and turn it into something that works out for them, getting 2 picks, getting a cap on the top side with Blaziken, and, you know, even though they do trade a couple kills back, this is very favorable for Team Arson, as the situation that they were in going in is a lot worse than...
Yeah. Yeah, and Evoli getting into a little bit of trouble there, trying to go for a cap right after those 8-minute bees, and ends up falling to the Zacian. Zacian almost level 8 now, probably going to pick up another kill on this Blissey and get some farm. Blaziken now taking level 8 is going to have that form switch, and we're going to see if Pixel is able to do anything to kind of stop this Zacian from dominating the game.
Yeah, Arson coming to 4 to 5-man this bot lane, see if they're able to make anything happen here. But Shiggy Wiggy is ripping the objective.
Yep, and Emotional Aid already having ult. Slim having ult right after he secures the Registeel buff. They're going to have an attack buff now. Scyther ult going in, picks up 2. Emotional Aid also is going to ult on that Alolan Raichu. 2 are going to go down for the side of Arson. But it looks like they are going to be able to stop this pad push for now.
Yeah, and it's interesting, something to note is that we do see Brave Bird on the Talonflame. I was thinking that it was going to be Fly based on the items that we have, having Charging Charm. I guess you would be more equipped to answer this question, but I'm pretty sure that Charging Charm is mostly a Fly exclusive item. Is that correct, Onion? Or...
I mean, I would personally run it on Fly, but I don't see a lot of value in Charging Charm personally. It's probably one of the more debated items on any character, in my opinion. So it is interesting to see it, and we'll see if it is able to do a lot in this match.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, another thing that's curious is that I was talking to... Sorry. There's a fight happening. I'm watching.
There is a fight happening. Peru GG the Zacian able to pick up a couple. Is level 11 now, the highest level in the game, almost taking 12 by this 12-minute mark. How do you think that Arson is going to be able to stop this Zacian that's just getting so fed and so online right now?
Well, certainly something that you could think about is going to be that Slowbro ult, but there's also the Scyther. And what I think is going to really favor Arson if they're able to get up the right situation is if they can get sort of a clumped up fight with this Blaziken Slowbro ult and maybe a Blissey ult onto the Blaze, sort of in one place. I think they could potentially swing a team fight, but they need it to be, really close quarters. And for At least that's how I think that they would be able to do it.
Yeah, and we saw Slim able to take that bottom Reggie buff for free. Really great zoning by the side of Shiggy Wiggy, able to like prevent them from even going in and taking a team fight. Now Snorlax going in, ulting, help from emotional aid, picks up 2. Blaziken now walled, perfect block by Calvary, but it looks like they won't be able to pick up the kill for right now.
Yeah, I mean, we see what's been happening from Arson here is they seem to be a little bit eager to make something happen being behind here, but they just keep throwing away, EXP and other sort of resources, getting a little bit, thinking we need to make some sort of magic happen, when realistically they just gotta farm up, stick to it, maybe kill someone sometime, but you gotta let it come to you, And I think that Arson is doing a somewhat poor job of that so far. They keep sort of overextending, trying to get back into this game, and end up burying themselves deeper in the ground.
And we are going to see 4 top on the side of Arson. The Cavalry able to put in some points into the bot lane. And the 3-minute mark is going to pass, and we have not Slobber ulted yet. So we'll only see likely 1 Slobber ult this game, and that will be at the raid fight.
Yeah, and that's really unfortunate. Being Slowbro, having a drafted pick, you want to really draft Slowbro pretty much exclusively for the Unite, because the character pick does not offer all that much else right now. I mean, other than some survivability. But only being able to use that ult one time, it's going to have to be a good one to justify this character selection.
Yep. And now the side of Shiggy Wiggy clearing up this last Reggie Rock buff. They'll have a defense and special defense buff for the first minute of the raid fight. It will expire right at 1 minute. And we are going to have a level 14 Zacian, and if the buffs come up in time, Slim can get level 14 on this side there as well, with Raichu already taking 14 as well. On the side of Arson, we have a single level 13, and there's not really a lot of level parity in this match. And the point parity is not there either.
Yeah, something really of note in this positioning is we see Shiggy Wiggy be super spread out here, playing sort of as single characters, and I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah. We see the Blaziken go in trying to get that pick onto the Scyther, but not able to finish it. Almost goes down for its effort, goes down, Espeon going down as well, Blissey going down. I'm not sure where our Slowbro ulted, but it didn't have much of an impact. None of the side of Shiggy Wiggy going down. And now they're just going to be able to rip this raid and most likely put in their hundo burgers.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly is something interesting. It is was quite a chaotic fight there, but what we saw is that the Blaziken ends up using a Blaze Kick to sort of stun the Zacian, and we instantly slow beam off of the Blaze Kick, but there isn't as many members from Arson as there are from Shiggy Wiggy right next to that, so the Zacian ends up being able to get away from the Slowbro ult without ending up dying, as well as it's a lot of that being the result of some help from Eldegoss as well. Did use the Unite, had a buddy barrier, had a pollen puff, that sort of thing, and not being able to get that Zacian kill despite using a bulk of their resources into it is just what ends up sealing the demise for Arson, as now they're all clumped up in this area, having no resources with the enemy team surrounding, without even a member down on the enemy team.
Yep, and I think going into the next match, I'd love to see a little bit of a different comp by the side of Team Arson. Potentially finding a better answer for the Zacian. Maybe something that's able to match its brawl instead of having to play more of a wait and see type of style that this Talonflame has.
Yes, for sure. I'm just gonna remind our team Arson here really quickly that you aren't supposed to surrender, as of course you're not, so that we can get just the proper stat portfolio, as we do keep score amount as a tiebreaker in the league. That is the reasoning for not having surrendering allowed.
So what I'm hearing is that score comp is the meta here.
So it is a tiebreaker that comes after game count. It is the secondary tiebreaker. So, yeah, I think it's the meta. Slap on those 5 goal getters. Play like LG did in Game 3 versus Nouns. Just win every game somehow, despite inting. Easy.
I mean, I think LG played that perfectly, and you can clip that.
And I will. And I will. And I will send that directly to ToonSlim, as me and him are practically best friends now that we stacked once and I said 2 words total.
I mean, IMAX, you've always been known for your comms. I would expect nothing less from you.
Yes. Thank you very much. I'm just asking side here as well. And while I'm typing, I'm curious to you, what are your thoughts on what Arson could potentially change for Game 2 to have a better outcome?
Like I was saying, I would love to see something more brawl-oriented in the top lane. Even something like Leafeon, which is one of Evoli Ravioli's main mons. I mean, I've seen her play that Solar Blade, and it looks good. Another option that I was thinking about is something like a Serena. I think it brawls well into Zacian as long as it can get online, but it can get kind of level gated like that Talon did get. You would want a strong support core in your lane as well, like a Hoopa or a LD. Yeah, so just more brawl. Taking one more active lane phase, I think, would be a lot helpful. But I'm also not sure if we're going to see the Zacian again. So, we'll see what happens.
Yep, I'd love to add on to what you said, but I also wasn't paying attention because I can't do 2 things at once and I was typing. So, but I'll say for me, I think I'm curious to see Arson potentially how they will play out this next game if they do end up getting a lead at some point, because I think they looked a little bit shaky when they were, in these situations where they're behind in levels and they felt like they had to make something happen. But
so you're saying they should play score comp?
Yeah, I think they should definitely play score comp. I would love to see specifically goal getter. What's something you should never put goal getter on? Onion, help me.
I mean, I think goal getter should go on every single Pokemon.
You're right. Game. They should pick goal getter Slowbro. That's what it is. Pick the Slowbro again. It was the best pick in the draft. Put on goal getter. Slap me in the face. Whatever you feel fit. I think that's what they should do. I will, if they pick goal getter Slowbro, I will quit as a league admin right now, by the way. Just FYI. And you can hold me to that. Because it's not going to happen.
Arson, it's time to throw for the content.
No.
Alright.
Looks like...
So yeah, Shiggy Wiggy gonna ban first. Gonna ban the Zygarde.
Oh yeah, something to mention as we have Zard Ho bans is that Arson ends up choosing for this second pick, whereas they were first pick in the first game. So curious as to what they can make happen from second pick side, as it is what they ended up preferring. And these bans, I believe, are very similar to game number 1, but we have the Blissey ban from Shiggy Wiggy. Quite interesting, as the Blissey was, I think, not very impactful in the last game. But also the Urshifu 1P, potentially Shiggy Wiggy thinking that this Mon is a little bit overpowered. But
Yeah, I think you need to DM Sayotami right now. He might be account sharing for Shiggy Wiggy.
yeah, that's why they banned it game 1, is because they didn't want it to be too obvious that Sayo was account sharing. But of course in game number 2 they were like, that game 1 was a little bit sketchy, let's bring out the Urshifu. So we've got Sayotami playing for Shiggy Wiggy. Of course, that's Overlord on the Lucario for Arson. I hit him up this morning and said, hey, they need a fill. You know, make this league more interesting. Specifically also so I could put him in the title of this league match video and get a lot of views, but then I forgot. So it's kind of cooked. What do you think about that, Onion?
I mean, if this is in fact Overlord on the Lucario, I feel a lot better about it than I do right now. I'm not sure how useful a pick it is as a 2-3. I would have liked to see, you know, a support pick or something with less counterplay and like a stronger presence within the game.
Yeah, speaking of a strong presence within the game, we have Obama on the Mammothswine with that strong presidential, you know, sort of defender pick. Gonna
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Obama on Mammothswine is just aura.
Yeah. And it's obviously the crossover between Obama and Diddy, as we do have Darkrai locked in from Pixel, famously known as the Diddy of Unite.
I don't think I've ever heard that, but I will use that from now on. Thank you for that.
Oh, no problem.
Now we are gonna see a compet from the side of Shiggy Wiggy. I would expect it to likely be on this Urshifu for the majority of the game. And looking at this build, IMAX, you know Sayotami, do you think this is going to be a rapid strike style Urshifu or a single strike style Urshifu?
Yeah, I think this one's gonna be a Dark Bear for sure, based on the way that we're running both attack weight and the bracer. On Wet Bear, it's traditionally, at least from what Sayotami plays, you traditionally play either full heal or X attack. You usually would put on Muscle or Razor, whichever one this guy's missing, I don't know, for the attack weight, and just play with the bracer. At least that's what Sayo would do, so I think we're probably going to see Dark Bear. And for the rest of this draft, the Raichu pick seemed to be something that Emotional Aid is very, very comfortable on, seemed to be a pick that they are confident locking in into almost any situation. I'm curious if you think that the early Raichu pick is good, or whether that it could have potentially been punished more in the last game, or this one.
I mean, I think it's definitely very, very punishable. But I also think that in these types of league matches, it's often comfort picks that are better. And so letting Emotional Aid have their comfort pick, have their lane that they want, and having the Snorlax in their lane as well is going to help them a lot in this early phase, as they're able to secure both the contested farm and their safe side farm.
Yeah, both lanes going in favor of Shiggy Wiggy in this early phase, which is unfortunate for Arson, as Buzzwole does get a lot of stacks up in the top path. We see a lot of farm secured for this Raichu, and this Urshifu gets his jungle uncontested, meaning that he's going to come top, and we do see him evolve into that Dark Bear, and he's going to... I'm punching him up. He's going to punch him up with a big old love punch. That's what I would call it. But also notably, we have Sweet Kiss. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a very interesting combination from the side of Shiggy Wiggy. They're going to be able to combo their Sweet Kiss into these Wicked Blows and hit the entire team if Shiggy Wiggy, or if Team Arson isn't able to dodge those Sweet Kisses. And notably, this Lucario and every player on the side of Arson is not running full heal. So there's not really a way besides just dodging the move for them to avoid the Sweet Kiss.
Yeah, and I've done that combination. We see Comfey stealing that farm, actually. I've done that combination with Seo many times, you know. It's a really good 1-2 punch. Lucario going power-up punch as well, which is just a 1 punch, not a 2 punch, but notably also a punch. Anyway, the 1-2 punch that's really, really good is that kiss into that blow. Just magnifique. Really something to look out for.
Yeah, I mean, the kiss into the blow is a pretty good combo, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay, Team Arson able to get their first cap of the game on the Lucario. First stack for the Lucario is able to get pretty close to their 7. I would expect to see close combat here from them. Have that unstoppable to help them avoid the Sweet Kiss, deal some damage to the Buzzwole, to the Raichu. Yeah. 720 Bs now coming up. It looks like topside Shiggy Wiggy is able to get these Bs for free. Arson's Evoli is going to tick 7. And 3-man Sweet Kiss into 2-man Wicked Blow. Yeah, this Kiss-Blow combination seeming really strong, IMAX.
Yeah, for sure. It is really strong. We see Arson not really spacing a lot of these kisses properly. You know, they're letting Shiggy Wiggy get the kiss on them a bit more than they potentially should be. But it's also hard, you know. This Comfey is playing it certainly really, really well, making it very difficult for Arson to play around this Sweet Kiss. But they are able to make a rotation here into the bottom side of the map and go for this Reggie before before Shiggy Wiggy is able to respond with the Dark Bear not being down here if they're able to do it fast. But it looks like they're going on to the Lax instead of trying to do the objective fast. And it gives the Urshifu time to be down here by the time that it's already half HP, and he will be looking for the Secure. Unless this Darkrai is able to take him down, but he's not living on 1 HP, and the Urshi does fall, but the Reggie goes to Shiggy Wiggy, and this Darkrai will likely be another casualty later on.
Yeah, and I think it was a little bit unfortunate for the side of Shiggy Wiggy to lose that Urshifu. Comfey taking ult right a second too late and not able to save the Urshifu with their ults. But able to get that Regice, and now they're going to look for a pad push here potentially, or they might just take the KO on the Pillows line and be happy. And it looks like Sweet Kiss going in, Buzzwole flashing, and a huge ult from the Buzzwole, able to knock out the side of Arson, and caps are going to be raining in. A 3, a 16, we're doing math, and we'll see if we decide to break.
Yeah. Caps are going to be raining in like cats and dogs when I turn on my cat and dog Rainmobile. Sorry, that's so dumb.
Alright. And we're also going to see this combination of the Snorlax Heavy Slam into the Sweet Kiss as well. And I know that this is a strategy combination that Goofy Goobers themselves actually favors. Can you tell me more about it, IMAX?
I wasn't paying attention to what you were saying.
What are your thoughts on this Heavy Slam Sweet Kiss combination?
Oh,
this
it's OP.
Combination that... Yeah.
I think that the Heavy Slam Sweet Kiss is definitely something to note because it is one of the least, common things you see from this Comfey is to actually play on your defender, but it is really strong. But Urshi gets picked. This is the way back in it for Team Arson. It's looking really strong, especially if this Raichu is able to die as well. And it doesn't he will die. And the Snorlax is there to defend the pad, but the XP gain for Team Arson is going to be absolutely massive. I was going to say earlier in this match that it's looking like a really good day if you're a fan of Team Shiggy Wiggy Iggington, but now it looks like it's a good day if you're still a fan of Team Shiggy Wiggy Iggington, but it's not as bad of a day if you're a fan of Team Arson as they're clawing their way a little bit back into this game, having a level 12 Mew and 11 Darkrai now, and this fucking dog boy, fucking dog girl. Sorry, I don't. 11. It's level 11.
Yeah, and that is going to be a huge power spike for the Lucario, able to get
That's what it
their
is.
unstoppable on the close combat, and now they'll be able to avoid these um superpower combos from the Buzzwole, the Sweet Kisses, Ebon Fist from the Urshifu. So a lot of the CC, and they can just hold down R on their controller, and it won't affect them.
Yeah, for sure. Something I'd love to see more from Arson, just in general, throughout most of this game, is going to be cutting some of their losses a little bit more. I think that Arson has done a good job in fights that they're winning, but what I need to see from them is that once something goes wrong, everything goes wrong, and they need to be able to not have everything collapse as soon as there's one problem. You know, that's what I would love to see for this Rayquaza. You know, one guy gets picked and we're still able to fight it out. We don't need to, you know, panic, sort of, is what I think has been a problematic for Arson for most of this game. And we'll see if they're able to hold their composure in this Rayquaza. That is how, certainly, a way I would like to see them win. But in terms of diagnostics of the fight, how do you need to play this for Team Arson? What sort of fight is it that could end up giving them the win?
I think if you're Arson, you're looking for a really good Darkrai ult. That's going to be the key to the fight. It's going to be a little hard with the Unstoppable on the Urshifu. I'd maybe look at the Raichu, but the Raichu going down, Mamoswine going down the other way, Power Nap coming out from the Snorlax, able to heal up, and this fight is going to take a little bit of a reset, one member of each side going down, Hoopa expending their Unite, and 3 Unites down on the side of Shiggy Wiggy.
Yeah, 3 Unites down on both sides. We have 2 on either. Urshifu ult, but we also still have that Darkrai ult that potentially could be big, seeing if they'll be able to hit it onto someone important later on in this fight. Ice Fang coming out.
This fight is starting to pick up now again. Close combat going out onto the Buzzwole, but the Luca getting caught out by this heavy slam from the Snorlax. Mule going out now, trying to save their team, but it looks like Arson is falling in short order. Darkrai, now the only member of their team left up, has their ults, but going to try and stop this cap from Slim, not able to do so. And Shiggy Wiggy leading 1 minute left on the clock, 418 to 47.
Yeah, if you're Arson, you really just have to walk through this top side of pit here, dash into the Ray, and see if you can make some magic happen, see if the enemy team maybe put their controllers down and doesn't want to win. That's sort of your win condition here. But it's certainly possible as well. Plenty of teams will do that. Even top teams like Nouns Esports in that scorecard game. But the Darkrai in sit down, not looking for this Ray, but it is actually already half HP on the Ray, but they get turned on and this game's over.
Yeah, I mean, if this is IMAX playing, I would say this game is still winnable from the side of Team Arson, but unfortunately this is Obama on the Mamoswine and not IMAX, and this game is over. The current score is going to be 2-0 Shiggy Wiggy.
It is my goat. It is my goat quality on the Mamoswine, though. I wish he would pick me up like he does to the enemy team with that Ice Fang. But unfortunately, he won't. Anyway, what do you think? Again, I have to ask it again, even though it looks like we had some similar problems from Arson as in game number 1. Because I think where they're really getting behind super far in these games and getting snowballed from is they're sending... This has happened twice now that they send 4 people bot and then they end up dying, having 3 people die in the 4v3 is really tradigital for Arson. Wayzaqua.
Okay.
That is some of the problem for sure.
I mean, personally, I feel like the biggest reason that Arson is looking kind of like rough in these matches is that they're playing very reactively, and they're never really using any kills they get to push an advantage. We're not seeing a lot of unites throughout the course of the game from them. This match, we only saw 2 Hoopa ults, one at the start of Ray fight, and then they were able to ult one more time near the end of the match before they all fell. I'm not sure that there was more than 2 Mammothswine ults as well. So these pivotal unites that changed the course of the match, we're not really seeing them used to get picks onto these important mons like the Urshifu, like the Alolan Raichu, and because of that, Shiggy Wiggy is just able to take every fight that they want despite old economy. Alright, IMAX.
Sorry, I'm DMing Rex. He asked me to play, and I'm saying no, I'm casting a league match, which is a tragedy. I wish I could play with Rex. Anyway.
So, one viewer, Bellowing Oak, is asking, what do you think Shiggy Wiggy can do better in the draft? So not Shiggy Wiggy, but Arson. I mean, not Arson, but Shiggy Wiggy. I think he's still DMing.
I am, sorry. I'm back. What do I think Shiggy Wiggy can do better in the draft? Well,
yeah.
I think that some of what they're doing is potentially leaving up that Charizard could be good for them. They've banned it twice now, but it is a comfort pick for some of their guys, so potentially forcing Arson to ban it or looking for the first pick on it since they aren't since they are 1P and they haven't really been getting anything too incredible with that first pick, potentially leaving up the lax this game, I think is something they could do better. But honestly, the draft has looked pretty clean from them for what they want. Obviously, what they want is to get their comfort picks. What they want is these drafts, and they're getting what they wanted.
So, on the opposite side, how do you think that Arson can improve their draft? What do you think needs to change from them?
Yeah, that's certainly a very interesting question. Both teams have R here, so I'm going to start it up while I talk about that. It's definitely an interesting question. I am not really all too sure. I do think potentially they could look for some more bulk in these compositions. I liked the Blaziken play from Pixel in Game 1, and the Darkrai looked a little bit less comfortable. You know, he still was doing some things here and there, but I think that he looked very confident in the Blaziken in Game 1, and it's not wasn't looking as confident in Darkrai in Game 2, so maybe pivoting to something like that. But also, the top lane picks, I think, have been a pretty rough spot as well with the Talonflame and the Lucario. I'm curious if Evoli potentially is playing on a new control scheme, as she is normally a mobile player, but I know has been trying to switch to the Switch recently. I'm curious if she is maybe trying that out in the league match, to practice it and get more comfortable, or if she's sticking with the mobile for this league match. But something really interesting, and I want to hear your thoughts on this, Onion, is they take away the Raichu from Shiggy Wiggy.
Yeah, I think that this is a very interesting strategy to have as sort of the meta game of this match evolves. You kind of learn what your opponents want to do more, how they're playing, and getting kind of destroyed by the emotional aid Raichu has led to Budwolf picking up the Raichu. I'm not sure if this is a comfort pick from him or if it's just a pick to stop the bleeding that's kind of happened in that bot lane.
Yeah, I'd love to talk more about that Raichu, but what really catches my eye here is the Crustle pick, and something you've been looking for all match, might be lurking in this Leafeon very comfortable pick, and something that Evoli is that's what she's known for, is the Leafeon. So I was about to talk about something else, but the Leafeon pick from Evoli is definitely exciting. If it's a good angle for it, she will definitely cook.
And I do have to say, Clefable has been a mon that has grown in popularity after Worlds. I know North America in particular has kind of struggled to pick it up, sort of with the counter of this Charge Beam Miraidon running Cursed is going to be able to lay the Cursed effect onto the entire team. The healing is going to be largely reduced. And I'm honestly not sure about this Clef pick. What do you think about it, IMAX?
This Clefable pick, I think, is definitely not, I don't think it's like a mistake by any means. I think that the composition they have built around Clefable is pretty solid. Even though it is going to get anti-healed, it is something that always introduces, Clefable is definitely a pick that I would think is something you should play as the losing team, because it just makes it hard for the other team to fight. They're always unfavored in fights where, they're always unfavored in poke, they're always unfavored in, like, some team fights where this Clef just gets a lot of healing off. So I think it's definitely I'm playing a team that I think my team is supposed to beat. I don't want them to have Clefable. I think it shakes things up by comparison to what it's normally doing. So if they're out here thinking, well, we've really had a hard time, let's just shake it up and play a different game, I think Clefable is definitely a good pick for that. And I like the synergy with the Blaziken and the Snorlax here as well.
To kind of stop the Serena. Gravity, I expect from the Clefable will do something to stop the Trap Kick or Grassy Glide from it. But outside of that, Blaziken kind of has a rough matchup into it.
Yeah, and I'd love to talk more about this game, but I've got a pressing question from chat coming from Silence. Would you rather get picked up by Mamoswine or Buzzwole, Onion?
I think the Sweet Caress of an Ice Fang would just be so much better than anything that Buzzwole could do to me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't want a big buff man on grabbing me. I want a big buff mammoth, with his icy tusks in my skin. Anyway, heading back to the match here, we've got Serena getting chunked a little bit. Not sure if they ended up going for a stack or something, but Leafeon does get the secure and is just going to run away with that. But the Hoopa invades. Looks like they haven't managed to get any farm yet, but they are delaying this jungle clear, and we do have the Blaziken having to contest his own red buff. The Clef comes through to help out. The Hoopa bursting it way too early. Big mistake from Resurrection, and the jungle ends up being not very disrupted, as well as the Serena going down to Evoli in this top path. No Solar Blade to follow up, but this Urshifu is going to be chunked going into these bees. Takes a berry from the Hoopa, takes a Solar Blade to the face, gets hit by that, and this 4-gank is looking a lot better for Team Arson than in games 1 and 2. Potentially could shape up something different for the rest of this game.
Yeah, and for the first time in this series, Arson is starting to take the lead early.
For the first time in forever.
Okay, Sophia the first. I mean, I think that we are going to get DMCA struck for that. It might be a little bit cooked. Goodbye money. And quality, well, not quality. Who's their Budwolf? These names are very confusing for me right now. Not being very familiar with these teams. Is going to be level 6 or close to level 6 for these 8-minute birds. We'll see if he decides to play them. And Arson in position first for these bees, able to get the majority of them. A rest coming out from the Snorlax, probably going to be called out, but it's well worth it considering they got all that farm for just the life of the Snorlax. And as I say that, the Clef also is going down, and we are going to see a little bit of an invade.
Yeah, I think they could have played that a little bit better for Arson, but as the Leafeon gets caught, but the Eject manages to dodge the Wicked Blow. He's not able to redirect it in time to catch the Leafeon, even though the Leafeon did eject with Urshifu to change his move direction. He didn't do it, so unfortunate. But what I was going to say is I think Arson could have played that mid-bees a little bit better still, because I do believe they were a lot favored in sort of fight there, and they just ended up bursting all the bees down, not really looking for some picks. I think if I was playing on Arson here, I would have called to look for some picks for at those mid bees, but that's just sort of nitpicking. They did end up still having a favorable interaction, and Budwolf died on bot lane just recently, but this Leafeon is solo farming. We've got the bot objective being ripped for Shiggy Wiggy, but the Leafeon getting big. What do you think about this macro state, Onion?
I think that it's going to be really good for the side of Arson, actually. We're going to get that level 8 on the Leafeon, and we're able to get a steal from the side of Arson. The Blaziken overheat, able to secure over the Wicked Blow Urshifu. And yeah, I mean, because of that, Arson is definitely favored now. Able to get a pick, some caps are going to rain in, Snorlax doing his best to block them out. And yeah, we're going to see a 22 overdunk on the bot lane. The first time in the series that Arson has the point lead as well.
Yeah, really cool. That's what I'm saying about this Blaziken pick from Pixel. You know, it does have the super effective typing buff by you know, being a fire type on Team Arson. You naturally just get that little buff, and is able to burn down the Reggie and take it, as well as the enemies, as these fights are looking really, really good from Team Arson. Solar Blade being absolutely huge in securing those kills there and not letting the Serena ult staying out of its range. The Snorlax finds another pick. The Urshifu takes a good angle to leave, but does get chunked. Probably going to be hard for him to contest this Reggie, and most likely we'll see him just backing up, potentially even going back to the jungle and farm. He is going to try and walk in and contest this Reggie, getting chunked, but does have the Unite, and is going to stay far enough away, not being able to die before he gets the Wicked Blow off, and does secure it. Serena coming back with the ult, and Arson staying a little bit too long, because they did end up finding those picks before the enemy team was able to Unite move. They still have those Unites for the refight, so they weren't able to burn the Lecky in time, that the Unites weren't able to get the value as they come back and use them to do things.
Good comms, good comms. Yeah, and I think going forward for the rest of this match, the Serena is now online. It has level parity with the highest level on the side of Team Arson, and I think this is going to be the point at which Arson is going to kind of struggle to kill the Serena, and they're going to have to use a lot of resources to kill it, and if they don't, the Serena will just lay waste to this back line of the Solar Blade Leafeon and the Electro Ball Raichu. And Raichu able to steal over the Wicked Blow. Again, this is going to be the second Reggie bot buff from the side of Team Arson, both a steal from the Wicked Blow Urshi. How do you feel about that, IMAX?
Yeah. No, it's interesting. We see Bud Wolf securing over Slimp here, potentially signifying that wolves are better than listening to Slimp. He isn't able to secure over Bud Wolf here.
Yeah, I'm not sure really how to feel about that. Wolves are pretty broken. I'd expect, you know, more wolf Pokemon to be released in Unite, so that Bud Wolf can kind of have that buff on top of the fire type from Team Arson. And they are going to start to press this pad tier 1 a little bit in preparation for this Regieleki. Alolan Raichu, Budwolf going down. The wolf was not out. And this Urshifu, a 3-man Wicked Blow, able to pick up one on the cliff, and is chasing down Evoli Ravioli now, able to get the pick up. Focus Band and Flash coming out from the Snorlax, able to live for now, but it looks like Shiggy Wiggy is able to get this Regieleki for free.
Yeah, that's an absolutely massive team fight for Shiggy Wiggy. They've looked very bad in the rest of these team fights, but the Urshifu finds a beautiful angle, throat chopping multiple members, able to set up the CC for his wickedly blow afterwards. I'm like, really, my brain isn't working today. I keep starting sentences and then not really understanding what I'm even talking about. But that is how it is, as Arson ripping bottom is going to be a rock. I'm curious, I don't think Rock might be maybe the worst buff for them in this situation, unfortunately, but still not gonna mind having that Rock buff. It will be helpful nonetheless.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see if it lets the target of the Urshifu live the ult. The Urshi does take their ult. I was a little bit worried that it might have been a little bit late, but it looks like it's fine. And we're just going to see the teams laying in wait for this team fight to start. A little bit of poke coming out from the Miraidon.
Yeah, and this Miraidon showing vision, I'd love to see the Lax sort of try and maybe capitalize with some sort of slam eject and then potentially into the block, but his team needs to be in position for it first, as the Leafeon ends up fighting this Urshifu, losing the ones, and the Blaziken finds a really good angle and spot to be, but gets picked up by the Serena ult. Now that's would actually be my answer to the question of would you rather get picked up by Buzzle or Mamoswine. It would be Serena because I am straight. But besides that, there is Rayquaza getting hit here from Shiggy Wiggy. They're trying to force Arson back in as Budwolf gets chunked. Urshifu uses eject just to get the boosted auto, but it might be worth it as he now is able to catch this reset and potentially come back. They might look to actually finish and commit to this, or potentially just stall it out, as I do believe that the call out should have been that they are in the lead, so they know that they are aware that they are ahead, but there is some chunking going on from the Leafeon, looking to potentially punish the comeback on these resets, or even just flip it themselves from Arson, as that's a big play by the Blaziken for a second there, but the Clef isn't able to keep him up, and the overheat doesn't go out. Even though it wasn't a Ray securing overheat, it was going to be big damage on every team member, but the Ray goes to Shiggy Wiggy, and it's going to be a 3-0 for Shiggy Wiggy. Not at all the result I expected. I expected this to be much closer, potentially even Arson favored, but Shiggy Wiggy looked really clean, and Arson having a tough time finding their footing, despite looking a lot better in that game number 3.
Yeah, I know a favorite phrase of the United community is, well, there's a Ray, there's a way. But Shiggy Wiggy kind of put a stop to that, recognizing the only win condition for Team Arson was in fact the flip and the secure on the overheat, able to turn beautifully onto the Blaziken, onto the Alolan Raichu, and onto the Leafeon, pick up those KOs, secure Ray for themselves, and win the game.
Yeah, Shiggy Wiggy looked really good in this set. They got the drafts they wanted. Arson, I really liked the steal of the Raichu in game number 3. It did look good. Budwolf was, showcasing some good mechanics on the Raichu. The Leafeon looked good. I loved Evoli on the Leafeon by comparison, certainly to the first 2 games, but also just in general. She looked very good on that Mon. But it doesn't matter, as this Crustle says damage check to Slimp, but Slimp's still getting the job done, as well as the rest of Shiggy Wiggy. And they close it out with a 3-0. Gonna be a really interesting stat line. And, it's very interesting. We saw Arson also lose to... not Arson. We saw Shiggy Wiggy lose to Keetuk early in the season, and then turning it around with a win on Arson. Really impressive stuff from them. And
yeah,
also,
and I think...
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, I think really a hallmark of this match from the side of Shiggy Wiggy was knowing what they wanted to do in the draft and executing that draft and their win cons very well.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely, and I'll see if we can pull in someone from Shiggy Wiggy potentially if you've got anything you would like to ask. I know I've got a question or two for them, so let me go see if I can grab one or two of these. Oh, AJ's on top of it already, so I'll just they're coming. Shiggy Wiggy joins the VC. What's up, fellas? How are you feeling off of that dominant 3-0 over Arson? That's gotta feel good, as Arson are, a very respectable team.
Well,
Wiggy, man.
I don't know if I'd say we dominated them either. Our third game was definitely the least strong, but it was pretty fun.
Yeah. Cool. Good to see. I have a question about the draft. How did you feel, or I guess Emotional 8 is not here present, but did any of you guys have any thoughts, or did he maybe say anything in the moment? How did you feel after that Raichu gets taken away in Game 3? Were you like, I wasn't expecting this? Yeah, actually, I'll just let you answer.
We kind of anticipated it. Most teams will like kind of steal picks from 8, just kind of spite them, but 8 has a very wide roster, and our comp with Crustle and Rhino was very strong to their comp because you can just trap them and just beam them to death with the anti-heal. Not to mention they pick Clefable very early on, which is kind of
Which
a
is
very
also easy to
more
counter pick.
candidate. Exactly, you just anti-heal to death.
Also, one electric type to the next, so it's no big deal for our attacker.
It's quite galvanizing.
Well, is there any questions from the rest of the VC? Anyone else who's watching?
Yeah, I have a question.
What's up?
This is to both of you, I guess. Would you rather be picked up by a Mammo Ice Fang or by a Buzzwole?
You know what? I think at one point we were
I'd say a
joking
Buzzwole.
about that.
I'd say a Buzzwole combo.
Man, I might want Buzzwole to use his other combo on me,
Actually,
the suck one, but
I mean, I do like being leech lift. Shiggy wiggy style.
I do like Mammal Swine too, though. So I'd still say Buzzwole.
I think a Buzz combo is more predictable if you know who you're facing, but an Ice Fang can just be so out of the blue. You just flash Earthquake and then get the stun, and then Ice Fang, and you're dead. And for some reason, Ice Fang has crazy scaling for a tank, so you just die.
I like that answer from. I like that answer of. I want the other Buzzwole move. The suck one. That's a good calm right there. Coming from AJ in chat though, next question is, how does it feel to take down Obama, the Obama?
I mean, I'm Canadian, so I have no comment.
I'm gonna also have no comment. But we take those. Just know we take those.
Yeah.
Alright, and another question I had is, Game 2, you guys chose that Sweet Kiss Clefairy after the Urshifu 1 pick. And Game 3, you elected for a Hoopa instead. What was your thought process behind that? Was there a reason you changed supports? Did you have that Clefairy picked out from the start of your draft Game 1 or Game 2?
Definitely. I guess it was just more so to see what I could get away with, because I tried to go for an invade that game, and Comfey, and yeah, Comfey's not really an invader, so I wanted to see if I could get away with it on Hoopa, but it didn't work out too well. But I still think it played out fine in the end. But yeah, just rotating through.
Yeah, limit testing during a league match. I like it.
Well, Game 2, they had a lot of Unstoppable, and a lot of CC, right? Darkrai, Mammal Swine. And so we just opted for just your Unstoppable burst damage with Wicked Blow. And if you can just clump them with Sweet Kiss, we can just blow them up with Raichu and Lax.
Also, our tank player had Lax with block, so the block would just push him into the Sweet Kiss as well. Yeah. It's very deadly.
And once we get one kill, Buzz goes crazy mode.
One more question about the draft lines here is, I'm curious, what is the thought process behind the Urshifu being such a proud pick? Do you guys just think it is broken after the buffs, or like super flexible into either moves? Like what's the main reasoning behind the first pick?
So there's, I guess, two reasons. We know Mystic is very competent on Urshifu, and given the fact that Urshifu can be flexed as both as a brawler and as a secure Pokemon, is very nice. And like after Game 1, we thought, okay, we don't want to give them a Pokemon that can flip and secure for free. So by denying Urshifu, we kind of resort them to play Blaziken. But we know Torchic has a harder time to get online compared to Urshifu.
Yeah. No, for sure. All right, two funnier questions before I pass it over to Onion for probably a more serious question. Both coming from chat. Billowing Oak says, "Can you ask what Obama's last name is?" I don't know. Do you guys know?
Well, his first name is Mr.
Oh,
and his last name is Obama.
of
So,
course.
Mr. Obama is the full answer.
Mr. Obama president.
And then the other question is from AJ, and he says, "Max, ask how other teams should outdraft Shiggy Wiggy in the future." So how do you think I should outdraft you?
No, I'm kidding.
Man, that's a hard question. We don't know how to outdraft ourselves. We're just picking on the fly.
Yeah.
Okay, Onion, you have any other questions?
Yeah, I guess to close it out. So earlier in the season, you fell to Kedic. Now you've 3-0'd Arson, a team that seems like one of the stronger teams in the league so far. How are you feeling after that, and how are you feeling going into next week's matchup?
So against Kiddick, we recognize we made a lot of like macro mistakes. We kind of adjusted for that. Against Arson, like honestly, after the Worlds, we didn't really practice as much, so we just played as if it was just a ranked game with more, I guess, a degree of seriousness. But
Yes,
moving
because
forward,
we don't
I think
like to underestimate our opponents either.
Yeah. We take every game seriously.
But we do have like a sense of what we want to ban, what we want to play.
Yeah.
We all read the patch notes, so we know what is relevant.
When the patch note drops, it's like stream immediately in the VC. But regarding like against, I guess just in general, when you draft something, you kind of like gravitate towards one Pokemon and how we can kind of benefit, or how to like make it reach its full potential.
Yeah,
Oh,
for sure.
and back to the other question about counter drafting us. You guys want to win against us? Pick something that dives our attacker, and he's gonna hate that.
Emotional Aid has one eject button, guys. Only one.
Shoutouts to Aid. Shoutouts to Calvary. Shoutouts to Mystic. Shoutouts to Slime. Shoutouts to Galaxy, our sub. I'm Adrian, the support player.
And Gary, other sub. And Miffy. Don't forget Miffy. Shut up, Miffy.
And Grandma. Grandma, man.
Yeah, there you go. Shouts out. Well, I think that's all for that. I'll say anyone who wants to stick around, we've got a lot of people watching, and I always appreciate it. For Zygarde League, it seems to be something that a lot of people really like. But anyone who wants to stick around, I'll probably be streaming my team's VOD review later, as long as they're okay with that, which they might not be, but we'll see. I'll probably stream my team's VOD review sometime soon. So if I am doing that, it might be a good way for anyone who wants to learn more. We've got our coach, of course, coming in and reviewing with us. Again, very might, because only if my team and coach are okay with it. But they might. So make sure you stick around to potentially watch that later today. And for that, that's all for the Zygarde League match. Onion says, shout out Lutano's dad. I agree. And goodbye.